The WHAS11 night team begins right now, and live at 11, we are tracking more rain for Kentuckiana, swirling around out there, and it's really going to add up. Drenching rains today will lead to more of the same tomorrow, but with some breaks that you may catch if you're lucky. And hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on the WHAS11 night team. I'm Doug Proffitt. Meteorologist Colleen Peterson is tracking the much warmer spring rains through the overnight hours. Colleen?
Yeah, speaking of those breaks, you're definitely going to see some breaks in the rain, but it is going to be a washout when we're talking about totality from Wednesday through Thursday. There's multiple rounds off on the radar across the south. They have a severe weather risk. Thankfully for us, this is just some spring rain in that forecast tomorrow. Looking at that radar right now, we've been pretty dry over the past few hours, going to stay dry over the next few hours, but by 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, that's when that rain will start to pick up right around bus stop hour. Brownstown, Seymour, North Vernon, seeing some light sprinkles out there, but that's just about it. So if you're heading out to the bus stop tomorrow morning, make sure to pack that umbrella, the rain boots. We are tracking the chance of maybe seeing some thunderstorms, maybe some lightning in it. So don't be surprised if you hear some rumbles of thunder. A break throughout the midday, but when you're heading home, yet again, we have more rain on the way, temperatures in the 70s. So it's all because of this low pressure system. There is a stationary front attached to it, which is mainly a front that's just not moving, which is why we're going to have round after round of rain Wednesday afternoon. And then again, Thursday morning and into the afternoon hours. It's not until Thursday night into Friday morning when that front will finally make its way through. I'm going to time out when that rain will clear out and talk about what your weekend looks like ahead coming up. Doug?
I find that you are in contempt of this court. Take him into custody.
And with that, an angry and frustrated judge sends Jamie Knoll right back to jail today. The former Clark County, Indiana sheriff taken out of the courtroom, as you see right here, in handcuffs. Tonight, he's booked in the Scott County, Indiana jail as he awaits his trial for theft, tax fraud, and corrupt business influence. Well, it is rare we see judges like this, but Judge Larry Metlock had a lot to say, and he wasn't happy in that courtroom. Knoll will spend 60 days in jail after 2 pistols were found in his home. That was a violation of his release conditions set by Metlock. WHAS11's Travis Breeze and photojournalist Emma Gefter were there as the judge slammed down his gavel.
3 hours of testimony and arguments Tuesday was all about whose job was it to pick up those semi-automatic pistols and turn them over to state police. Knoll's attorneys argued he was confident that every gun in his house, minus 1 shotgun, had been turned over, and it was an honest mistake. But Judge Medlock said it was always Knoll's responsibility to make sure his bond conditions were upheld.
I told Mr. Knoll, don't do anything stupid. Do not try to deceive me, defy me. You will not like the consequences. Today is that day.
With a vicious swing, Judge Larry Medlock sent Jamie Knoll back to jail. He swung so hard, he broke the gavel block up on his bench.
You don't interpret the law. You don't enforce the law. You're not above the law.
Knoll was originally arrested on November 9th and told to turn over all firearms except for 1 shotgun. He called brother-in-law Bradley Kramer and another man named Charlie Moon and asked them to go through his house and pick up his guns. He gave directions over the phone.
I collected the guns that I saw, yes sir.
And you felt like you got them all?
I felt like I got the guns where he directed me to find them.
The pair grabbed 82 guns. However, Indiana State Police later found 2 Smith & Wesson pistols while serving a search warrant on March 13th. They were still in factory packaging.
Well, when I moved the chair out, inside that box was 2 Smith & Wesson boxes.
In closing arguments, Knoll's attorney said it was not willful intent to violate a court order.
Do people make mistakes? Of course they do. But we know that those guns have been purchased since 2017 and they're in the same box, haven't been disturbed, haven't been out.
But Medlock was unmoved.
Every time I go into court, I hear, I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it was there. Take him into custody.
As for how many days?
You know what I think the answer is? 60 days in.
Perhaps a reference to the A&E show called 60 Days In that Knoll did in 2016. In Jeffersonville, Travis Breeze for the WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Well, a start date for Noel's trial hasn't yet been set or chosen, but prosecutor Rick Hurdle was confident that it will be more than 60 days away. Hurdle also said he thinks when Noel was released, he will have the same bond conditions. Right now, all new on the WHAS 11 night team, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has vetoed a controversial anti-crime bill referred to as the Safer Kentucky Act. The bill includes numerous provisions like increasing penalties for violent crime, changes to the parole board, and destroying firearms used in murders. Supporters said it would reduce violent crime, but opponents argued that the bill lacks legitimate data to prove that it will prevent any violence. In his veto message, Governor Beshear says the bill does have some good parts. However, instead of making those standalone bills, he says the legislature, quote, chose to include these good policies with dozens of other measures in one unwieldy bill that would criminalize homelessness and significantly increase incarceration costs without additional appropriation, end quote. The GOP-dominated legislature does have the votes to override the governor's veto. And tonight, take a look. This is the scene outside late today, the former location of Old National Bank on East Main Street in downtown Louisville. 5 large flower arrangements sitting on the steps, a tribute to the 5 people who lost their lives in the mass shooting in Louisville on April 10th, 2023. That's when a gunman opened fire, killing 5 co-workers and hurting 6 others before police arrived 1 year ago tomorrow. And tomorrow, the city will be holding a special service with the governor and mayor to remember the victims: Josh Barrick, Jim Tutt, Tommy Elliott, Juliana Farmer, and Dina Eckert. The service is scheduled for 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. We will show it to you live on WHAS 11 and on WHAS11.com. New right now with the night team. Months after complaints first began about brown water coming out of the taps in Salem, Indiana, the city council is now one step closer to improving its water quality. It has gotten better, but the problem isn't solved. Tonight, the council voted to approve a new water task force. WHAS 11 night team's Alex Dederer and photojournalist Addie Hill report from Salem on what issues the task force is aiming to solve.
The city of Salem, Indiana is now welcoming a water task force after the city council voted unanimously in favor.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
This is why the task force was assembled. It will review the water plant and infrastructure and give recommendations to the city on how to improve water quality. The WHAS 11 focus team was first to report about the brown water concerns in Salem in early October of 2023. We also found that the city had a roughly 2-year history of not doing all the required water tests.
From some of the brown water issues that we had last year, that issue was discovered, what was wrong. It was remedied and fixed, and I think it's been much better. City
Common Council member at large Roger Pennington was the one to introduce the water task force. This group would address the concerns residents have that led to brown water in their city.
Personnel and duties, status of the current facilities, water production costs and consumer rates, consider recommendations to address any issues, items of concerns, inefficiencies or upgrades.
The task force will include 5 members, 2 members from the council and 3 members from the community. It will be a one-time committee. Pennington says once the task force is assembled, they'll meet for about 3 months. But he says he doesn't even think the task force will meet that 3-month benchmark to come to their recommendations.
This is really to build back the public trust and confidence in the way that city government functions. And by including the public, I think that shows the transparency that's needed.
The task force is not allowed to enforce any policy, just provide recommendations on water treatment improvements. In Salem, with photojournalist Addie Hill, Alex Dederer, the WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Now, one of the community members on that task force will be chosen by the mayor, and the other 2 will be chosen through an application process. No word yet on when those applications will be open. Jefferson County School Board is ready to vote on that big transportation plan with major changes for next year. The school board's called for a special meeting tomorrow night solely to vote on that plan. It comes 2 weeks after the board tabled the same vote, saying they needed more time to review a recently released scathing audit on the transportation system. The board hasn't revealed which plan they're going to vote to approve. That meeting, though, is scheduled for tomorrow night at 6. We will be covering it here on the night team. Right now, new on the WHAS 11 night team, community members got their chance to ask questions and share ideas as Norton Healthcare prepares to open the new West Louisville Hospital. It was a packed room at the Fraser History Museum for the forum tonight, focusing on the new hospital at 28th and Broadway. Norton CEO Russ Cox and Chief Administrative Officer Corinza Townsend addressed questions related to services, the facility itself, and if the employees will reflect the community.
We want the best fit. We will have people that work and live in the community, but the priority is good patient care and great human interactions, and that's the priority here. That's what we're going for first.
Townsend says in many feedback sessions, West End residents told her over and over they just wanted a hospital just as good as Norton and other hospitals in different parts of town. The West Louisville Hospital will open in November.